I wish I knew.
And what I think a word choice we've used in more time that gets confused is we use the term emotional vulnerability. When I think and I think a lot when they say this, they're looking for emotional intelligence.
Okay. So before we go forward, let's break that down. What is the difference between vulnerability and emotional vulnerability and emotional intelligence?
Emotional vulnerability is literally just letting the emotions out, saying what they are, crying, just like being very open about it,
These are my emotions. Here they are. This is how I feel.
showing it on the outside.
Okay.
Emotional intelligence is feeling the emotions, understanding the emotions, but knowing how to direct the emotions.
Is there like a stoic approach to that?
Just it's kind of like meditation. Like you feel the feelings. Like this thing makes me sad. I know that I'm sad. This is why I am sad, but I don't necessarily need to cry about it.
It seems like emotional vulnerability with logic applied.
And I think what happens here is women use the term they want you to be emotionally vulnerable.
Right.
No, they want you to be emotionally intelligent. That doesn't mean they literally want you to cry in their laps.
Okay.
Because you came home and you had a hard day at work and you're just like, oh my God, it was so bad. And you just throw yourself on the couch and start screaming into a pillow. That dries me up thinking about it. Like, I get the visual is not great.
It shrills my nuts up.
The visual is not great seeing a man just ugly crying. I get it. I get it. I get it in a sense. But like, the emotional intelligence thing here is like, so we've talked about before, like, women statistically are more emotionally mature, I guess would be the word to say. They're more in touch with their emotions on average than men.
Okay.
But I would say, like you made the point earlier, women, because they go cry, they go regulate their emotions in that way.
They've had practice. They've done the reps.
But I would say they are more emotionally vulnerable more often.
Yes.
They're more erratic with their emotions. They deal with different hormones than we deal with that make them more emotional and are prone to bigger mood swings.
Yes.
Men, even emotional men, on the surface, typically don't look that emotional. So you hear like, oh, he doesn't show anything. Some men, that's just like but like I get accused of that a lot, even though I'm a pretty emotional dude. But when I'm like in the zone doing my thing, I keep a pretty stoic appearance. And I've had people like say, oh, you seem like emotionless. It's like, I'm kind of, also I'm just zoning out sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's like, but inside I'm a torrent of emotions. But I identify my emotions. I always like, oh, why do I feel this way? Why? Oh, this is why. And I can read other people's emotions. So it's like, I'm usually kind of playing that little mental chess game, which is what that is, where it's like women are emotionally vulnerable and they might be a little erratic, have mood swings. If you are also being emotionally vulnerable, that means you just have two erratic people in the car. You have two feeling brains driving the car.
You can't have that.
So it's like the idea of emotional is what you pick your moments. And it's almost like this, like the concept of cross-sex mind reading, where like they want you to know how they feel so that you can act accordingly.
But I don't know. I can't read your mind. What?
Kind of. But emotional intelligence is kind of a way of like having a better grasp of your emotions, therefore other people's emotions, how you show up in the world. You have a choice in how you show up.
I feel this way. I need to act this way to counteract this feeling.
Yes.
And
their feelings.
Or working with the emotions that I'm feeling now. This is the course of action I have to take.
Well, like right there. So, example, like your girlfriend comes home. She's had a terrible day at work. She's distraught. And let's say maybe you had a bad day also.
Yeah.
But if you're emotionally intelligent, you pick up on this. Okay, right now I need to keep it together and just be here for her. Like, I don't need to necessarily even fix the issue. That's a different issue we can do. But like, just hear her out. Keep calm. Don't make the situation worse. But if you are also being extremely emotionally vulnerable, which is, yeah, I had a bad day too, and then you're both just like, you might think that's cathartic.
That's an unstable environment.
But it's an unstable environment. So the idea, you could romanticize, oh, look, we're both just ugly crying together. This is so romantic. It's not a movie. Because biologically, we're going back to biology, the woman has a biological imperative to feel safe, secure. If I'm ugly crying in her moment of weakness, she doesn't feel secure.
Okay.
She's already, go back to the quote I got, she is admitting that she is emotionally erratic. She can't be a strong, stable emotional source for me. The only way this works is if I don't compound her emotional erraticness.
Okay. So I got a piece of marriage advice from one of our friends
Okay.
who is married. He
I would
said,
hope. You did say married friend, so I'd hope he's still
yeah,
married.
marriage advice. Well, I was never married. Relationship advice from one of our married friends. If she's having a bad day and I'm good, I'm there for her. If I'm having a bad day and she's having a good day, she's there for me. If we're both having a bad day,
He's there for her.
I just shut up and be there for
Yeah,
her.
that's emotional intelligence.
Okay.
That's a prime example of what I'm trying to dictate here.
He
It's
said
like,
those are the
it is
three,
not. There is a
those are
double
the
standard.
those are the three scenarios that you can be. She's good, I'm bad, she there for me. She bad, I good, I'm there for her. We're both bad. Well, fourth option, we're both good, no problem. We're both bad. Repress it today.
But that is displaying a double standard,
Yeah.
which is that in that case, emotional vulnerability would be bad. That would just ignite a flame and turn that into a bigger thing.
Like his emotional
in that moment, his emotions
vulnerability.
don't matter as much, and he has to make that identification in this moment.
He has to turn off the vulnerability and turn on the emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's complicated. So I think people use those two words interchangeably.
But they're not.
They're not interchangeable.
They're different things.
There is
different elements.
there is a time and a place for a man to cry.
And it's not when she's crying.
It's not when she is emotionally unstable. But in my case, there was never a moment for me to cry.
They were never stable enough for you.
There
to
was
cry.
never a moment for me to be able to let that out. So it was just
But see the thing, not all women.
Not all
just
women.
not that woman.
It was that person.
It was that
In
person.
my dynamic. But I know there's a woman who would have a good day at work while I'm having the worst day of my life. Would not go piss on me while I'm down. I know they exist. I'm not trying to be because that's the thing. Men go down that red pill route. Once that
all
event
women,
happens to
yeah,
them,
all women do.
oh, they're all
no.
like this. They're all just vultures. They all just do this kind of shit.
But you do need that, even if there is that double standard. Like,
Teaches you that it's a learning moment.
Yeah.
Gives you perspective.
but when it's
if
all,
you allow it.
But when all her days are bad days,
That's a bad situation.
That's a bad situation because that
Use
negates,
your emotional intelligence to
yeah,
find that out. Yeah.
because that negates the ability for you to have a bad day.
This is that you have literally emotional intelligence to identify this is a one-sided relationship.
Because you're allowed to have bad days.
You, as a man,
you're
you're allowed to
allowed
be
to-
emotional. You're allowed to have a bad day.
Men are allowed
And
to
if
be
the
emotional.
woman you're with indicates that is not the case, maybe flip the script on her. Tell her that she's not very emotionally intelligent.
It's not. That's
It
not
is
very
not.
emotionally
Women do not
intelligent.
have the, all the stocks on emotional intelligence.
No, we're allowed to have some too.
Yeah. Men are not all dumb apes.
Some of us. We have
of us
our
are.
moments. We have our moments.
I wish I knew.